Put the fucking mic on.
Want to ride longer? Tired of a sore neck? Yes. Fix it with a high-quality butt buffer seat cushion. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of butt buffer seat cushions. Lurch.
Yeah.
Think you got to say, sorry about that. Think you got to say,
I got mail.
Mail here.
Yay!
Email.
I got mail. Yay.
Yeah, this is a product review of the Fat Bagger's Easy Clutch Cable, the upper clutch cable. Replaces your upper clutch cable, gets rid of that crappy plastic cable housing and adjuster, and and puts all metal parts down there, so it's metal to metal, no more plastic, and then moves the adjuster up to the top of the cable near the handlebars. And this is from Wayne Atkinson, and he says, I finally got this installed as I added KST extended reach bars to my bike. Excellent product, and the great lab videos were a big help while installing the cable. I love it. And adjusted at the grip area is perfectly to get rid of the stock plastic semi-auto adjuster. This is a must.
yeah, buddy, that's the upper clutch cable that I run on my 24 Street Glide. There's nothing better than having your clutch cable adjuster, just like a bicycle or a dirt bike. It's right at your clutch lever. It makes adjusting it. Why they ever put it down there, I don't know. Indian does the same, but they put theirs down by the clutch, down low, by the primary, so to speak. So yeah, I don't know this, but this puts it where it should be for riders, and it's
so much easier
it's
to
glorious.
do by yourself. Oh, Stacy already noticed the bottle sitting here.
Oh, you did.
Yes,
He mentioned
Stacy
to you when
did,
he got it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So when Anthony and Stacy visited last time, they brought this bottle of Bib and Tucker. Is it a bourbon? Yeah, small batch of bourbon with them. So there's a little left in here still. I got it out in your honor. I'll be enjoying some as we do the podcast.
We'll try to save a few sips for you for if you come back in town. Yeah, it's debatable. But he did mention you when he pulled it out.
Yeah.
While the mics were muted. And so, yeah, good eye. Good eye, Stacy. So, yeah, that upper clutch cable. And if you want to learn how to install it, just scroll to the bottom of that listing in the Law Abiding Biker store. And, of course, there's a video right there for you. Bikeaholics 03D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson and a brand new line for the all-new Honda Goldwing.
I like gold.
Gold Strike. Top quality, affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. Your Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of 03D products. Hogworks, yep, build motorcycle parts the way you want them. Clean fit, quality finish, customer service that actually answers. Yeah, we run their gear on our own Harleys because we trust it. I've got it on mine. So check out their full selection of Hogworks products. Our full selection in the Law Abiding Biker store. Remember, if you don't see it in the store, we just haven't created a listing, but we can get it for you. Grab us a product name and part number, and we'll get it ordered up. No sales tax if you live outside Washington State, for shipping over $100. And if you're a patron member, 10% store discount code year round. You got some more store products to promote here?
I don't. Yes, I do. Give me a second. Talk about something else, and I'll get back to it. That's one of the things that I miss.
I'll announce a new free video while you get it ready.
Why don't you do that?
So, new free video that we want to announce this episode is how to remove and install. No, you already did that. That's episode 1. Episode 2 is best motorcycle cell phone mount exposed. Why I only use the biker gripper. Don't get fooled. We did that video a while ago, but it is an updated video to our number one selling product still to this day. We just got a large shipment in, and we've got multiple different models of the biker gripper, the sexiest, sleekest, strongest motorcycle cell phone mount in the world. Black chrome universal perch mount. We've got a new Gen 2 head if you want to upgrade your head, all that kind of stuff. But that video covers it. What's changed? We have a charging one if you like. It's got a MagSafe wire. Yeah. It's not. I hate
it's wireless wired.
I fucking hate that word. Yeah. It's a MagSafe charger. So that if you don't want to plug in the bottom of your phone, you can have the MagSafe magnet it's in there, and some guys are really, really enjoying that. So that's our charging mount head. What you got your products?
Absolutely. We added a bunch of batteries. We've got an anti-gravity battery. That's a lithium.
That's been in there for we
You added a
I did.
second one. Yeah,
Okay.
you had one for
Second
the
one, that's
Softails.
right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
only had one for the touring bikes. While we
That's right.
focus on touring, we do, try to support all bikes. And so we didn't have the one for the Softail in there. We added that one. And then a mess of either UASA and or Drag Specialties batteries. The UASA, great battery. Very well rated. I think, was it 550 cranking amps on the one you got?
500.
500, yeah. Just spins that bike over so much better. And then there's also some Drag Specialties batteries. Still a great battery, but at a little bit better price because they are white labeled, or meaning they have Drag Specialties name on. They're made for Drag Specialties. They are one of our distributors, so we're able to get a great price on those. So a lot more options now in the law-abiding biker store for batteries.
Yeah, I just put the UASA in my 24 Street Glide this weekend. The GYZ 32HL, that is the touring battery of touring batteries. So if you're getting rid of your OEM, go with the 32HL. It's a factory activated sealed AGM with the 24 renewers with the infotainment control unit. You're not supposed to use lithium. It tanked my entire bike and a trip outside of Greensboro. And then I put this shitty Duracell in it because that's all we could get.
All we could find on the side of the
and I was
road.
glad it got me going, but it lasted 2 years dead. So I put this, UAS is really well known. They're manufactured right here in the USA. I love the UASA batteries. So we've got you covered. Remember, free shipping over $100, no sales tax outside of Washington State. We can get you batteries. The GYZ 20HL is for Softail. It's a little bit different footprint because it's narrower. But the one I got, the stock OEMs are 400 CCAs, cold cranking amps. This one is 500, and it turns the bike up over so much better, especially with extra electronics. You should have a higher cranking amp. Harley, unfortunately, so does Indian, put the bare minimum to get that bike enough to turn over. And so you add a couple things, and now, you want more CCAs. So I would upgrade to that if you have a touring. It's not the cheapest battery, not the most expensive, but you're going to get high quality. And then we have the GYZ 20HL for the Softails. That's the factory activated sealed. Then I have a couple options for UASA that are a little bit less expensive, but they're not factory activated, meaning that I just bought one for my KLR. It's a UASA, and you get the battery, and it comes with the electrolytes, the acid packs, and it's really simple. They have little aluminum foil, and you take the cap off the battery, you activate it once you get it, and you put the little tubes and acid over, they puncture. They're the right amount. It fills the cells. You put the cap on, and you never really have to touch it again. You've just activated it. So those are a little bit less expensive because they're not sealed. And I can't remember the CCAs on that, but it's still plenty of CCAs for your Harley. We have a model for the Softail. So that's why I brought some different options. And then if you really want to save some money, of course, you can get the white labeled Drag Specialties batteries. And all the way, we do sell lithium ion, the two anti-gravity. Remember tires, guys. We have the Metzler Cruise Techs. We have the AE2s, American Elite 2s. We got you covered. We got all the parts, guys. You just got to head over to the store. We're shipping all that stuff out all the time. So yeah, I was proud to finally get all those battery listings, the ones that we kind of trust, and give you some different price points, so to speak.
Anthony Peter says, add more Indian parts, please. Which
yes,
we are working on. As Ryan mentioned in the last episode, we got something on the burner.
We do.
So there will be more Indian parts added. I just sent you a text if you get an opportunity to look at it. It is a photo that Anthony Peters made in ChatGPT. I got to say, I'm looking pretty good. I don't think I haven't been that skinny in a long time.
Oh yeah, dude. That's nice.
It's a Miami Vice style picture of Ryan and I.
Oh yeah, dude. Look at that. Pretty sweet, dude.
Nice work.
Yeah. If I went, that's what we need to wear. Oh yeah, dude. Look at you young hunk. Yeah. Nicely done. Nicely done. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Anyways, yeah, lots going on. And, with that said, let's just, rock and roll here. What do you say? Another live video broadcast and chat for our mid-tier and above patron members. Welcome back. You freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the
99%.
Large in charge of the motorcycle scene. By being here, by listening, you're part of what we call the hashtag
Biker Revolution.
One question before we get started. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics?
Mount up and let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
Ryan Urlacher here. your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast, and of course, your
high-tech redneck.
There you go. It's been a minute.
Oh. Nicely done. It's been a while since we did that. It has been a while.
So I figured we'd throw that in there. So a couple things that we want to tell you about. We already told you a new free video. The episode we're picking right back up. This is part 2 of 2 of basically Behind the Badge, Ryan's reflection on a 30-year law enforcement career. In episode 1, we took it all the way up 10 years through my state patrol career and even pre-state patrol career. And then now we're picking back up with my next 20 years as a Yakima police officer, in which I held a bunch of different positions and a bunch of crazy shit. And we'll have a lot to talk about. So that's where we're going to pick it back up. But we want to thank real quick some of our newest. You had an email too. Why don't we handle that? Did you handle it?
Nope. Yep. Took care of that.
Yeah, disregard. Yeah. We have double show notes here. So I'm seeing cross-eyed here. Did you have? Oh yeah, right there.
Yeah,
we want to thank some of our new patron members because this is a live video broadcast and chat. So yeah, there you go.
We'd like to thank Pat Lynch of Queen Creek, Arizona, Mark Ogenet of Hampstead, North Carolina. He's top tier. Sorry, Mark, I just obliterated your last name. And Rodney Elnick of Washington, Michigan.
Lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Get over there, get signed up. You basically sign up for a monthly subscription. You get to choose the benefits that you want to receive. And there are a lot of them, such as t-shirts and stickers. You get access to the private Facebook group, a troll-free zone, nothing but bikers helping and connecting with other bikers in there. You get access to the live video broadcasts and chat like this right here. Podcast early, premium videos up on request, access to the large write-up, meetup, and events like we're doing in Buffalo in 3 weeks, Buffalo, New York. And of course, your year-round 10% off discount code, everything in the Law Abiding Biker store. And so thank you, all of you, some of our newest patron members, and thank you for everybody for being here live. You stuck around. We're doing episode. We were just going to do episode 1 live and then record the other, but y'all wanted us to stay up live. And so by golly, we are doing it. So let's dive right back in, Lurch.
Mark, I Googled how to pronounce your last name and it's Agenit.
There you go. Nicely done.
For fucking that up so bad. So if you didn't listen to episode 1, please go back and listen to that and listen to the first part of Ryan's career. This part, I know a lot of it because we're friends through this, but we weren't co-workers and working together all the time. So I know some stories, but I'm looking forward to knowing a little bit more and hopefully even learning a new funny story that I'm not aware of. But so you left the Washington State Patrol. It's what's called lateraled. So you were already a commissioned officer in Washington State, and you're moving from one agency to another. Now, as Ryan mentioned in the previous episode, the Washington State Patrol is primarily a traffic law enforcement agency, and Yakima Police is a police department that does everything. So for the listening audience, did you have to go to another academy? Did you have a shortened version? They throw you right out with a FTO, a field training officer? We know you had 1 day off in between, but what was that initial training before you were able to go out on your own? What did they have you do?
So basically what they did for me, because I already had 10 years on, it varies. If you have 1 year on in your lateral, you're going to get a bit different treatment. But I had been working with all the guys and they knew who I was and I was already helping them out. They'd call me with a canine and they knew my capabilities. And so the administration just decided to put me on a short with another officer to learn their procedures, report forms, policies, things like that. And I think that they even shortened that. I think it was like a couple weeks. I think it was supposed to go a month and then they just cut it at 2 weeks or something.
There's probably some municipal codes you had to learn or
muni codes,
city laws versus state laws.
Yeah, that. And just, everybody does their own like procedures. Sure. How do they do their evidence? How do they enter evidence? So, all that kind of stuff. And I rode with several different officers that I'm really good friends with now. And we honestly just had a lot of fun. It's like a 2-man car, and so yeah, it was like 2 weeks, I think 30 days max, something like that, from my recollection. Didn't have to go to another academy or anything like that. Got certified with their stuff, got you guys didn't even have tasers at that time, the state patrol. So I, got tased right away. I'd already been pepper sprayed at the state patrol, but back then you had to get tased if you're going to carry a taser. So I just kind of went through all that different stuff, got geared up.
For people that have never been tased, tell them what it feels like.
Like shit.
It's hard to explain, but
it fucking sucks. It's very painful. It's like 1,000 sledgehammers hitting you all at once.
Exactly. It's a pulsating electrical wave that feels like you're getting hit.
And you can do nothing.
You can't do anything about it.
Your entire nervous system freezes.
It just takes it over and locks you up, and it just feels like you're being punched over your whole body, though. Not just like a punch, you're like, ow, that hurts my ribs. It's like your whole body. Yeah. And I had the opportunity to do it early on at the State Patrol through different trainings I went to. And they said, hey, if you do it, it'll count towards your training you want to get tased later. And I thought, well, hell no, I'm not going to do it until I know we're getting those damn things. I don't know about you, but I tried to be as stoic as possible. I'm like, I'm not going to, cry or scream or do anything. And when it hit me, and you can, back then you could either have them put some alligator clips on you and then zap you with it, or you could take the darts.
I took the darts.
They're flying fish hooks, we call them.
They didn't give us that option. They just darted our asses.
I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I mean, if you're going to be a bear, you might as well be a grizzly.
There you go.
Right? Dart me. And this guttural groan came out of me from I don't know where. It was like,
true.
But some people go, fuck, or oh shit, or, it's pretty funny. But it is a intense feeling. I would not recommend it.
And the bigger and stronger you are, the more effective it is. I don't care how big and tough you think you are. There's nothing you can do with a taser if it connects right. It just, the more muscles it can go through, the worse it is, the worse the experience. And so, you don't know what you're going to do. You just hope you don't say mommy or something like that, because your brain will do what your brain does when it goes into survival mode like that. And I heard large guys, it makes them
squeal,
make a little bit less than manly noises. And you're embarrassed after, you're like, dude, you can't control it. You can't control what.
They're a little embarrassed.
I think I said stop. Right? I think I said stop or something like that. Yeah. It didn't stop until it was over.
It's 5 seconds of fun.
5 seconds seems like an eternity. Yeah. So anyways, I got all that done, and then it wasn't very long, and I was out on my own working graveyards, doing the city beat thing on a graveyard with a crew, and it was amazing to work with people. We went to work with the SCAT team, interdiction, more of a team environment, but city environment, we worked a lot by ourselves too. Yeah. A city environment, you've got a lot more police.
Yeah. How many districts was there? 8 districts?
9.
Yeah. So you should have at least 9 guys and gals working at all times. So you have a lot more of a crew, a lot more backup. And it's just more fun working with people too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And you get to know the guys, and you can go roadside with folks when the call volume goes down. And I just really, I really enjoyed it, because I was, like I said, it's just my personality. I was getting very bored just doing that kind of stuff with the state. And I was like, now I get to all different kinds of crimes that you don't deal with when you're a state trooper, because it's traffic related. So I got to start dealing with all the plethora of city type stuff that's going on, and a lot more chases and pursuits and foot pursuits and you name it. I mean, everything from a robbery to, civil issues. And so it made me think again, on my feet, and experience new things and all that. And so, so I just worked graveyards for about a year.
You had the opportunity, if I recall right, to come over as a canine officer.
No.
I thought you were offered and you turned it down. I thought that was part of the whole thing was, they were taking you on. There was going to be a dog available. You were a dog handler at the time. I had
heard that, but there was no promises.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That was my recollection, was that you had been offered and you declined, so that, because coming on as a new officer and everything, just work on the road. No? Okay. Well, that's the rumor.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I imagine you became the traffic enforcement guru, though.
I kind of did, but I didn't mind helping guys, but I wanted to separate myself a little bit from that too. But all the way until the end of my career, I constantly answered traffic questions for people. It's just in your blood, that's what we do, and I didn't want to tell them no, you know what I mean? they would scratch my back when I needed help. Right. So, I had heard that they were going to get drug canines maybe. And they had asked me, would that be something you're interested in if you did come over? I said, at some point. And if they, but I was never told, promised
so
anything.
That was fairly accurate though. There was talk of it.
There was talk of it under the, not straight from the chief, but from other command stuff. Sure. And hey, if we did, is that something you'd help with? And I'm like, sure. So I didn't hear really anything about it for the first 2 years. And then all of a sudden, hey, we got a grant. We're getting drug canines. And of course, they instantly came to me and said, would you be interested in having one of the dogs? Of course, the typical law enforcement, but we're going to do an application process and we're going to do interviews. Fuck off.
So you may
I can say that now. Fucking law enforcement is so fucking corrupt when it comes to that. And the state patrol was guilty of it too. I'll just tell you, I know, because if you're going to get the position, you already know. Well, and they make it look fair, but they really already have somebody picked for the most part. I'm just saying it how it is. I can say that shit now. Yeah. It's true.
Well, because they have to have a fair and equitable process. No, I know, but there has to be a process.
Right.
In private industry, you could just go to one of your employees, you have these skills and abilities. I have this opportunity.
Work your ass off.
You want it.
Yep.
You can't necessarily do that in you can't do it in law enforcement. You have to have a process where everybody gets to apply for it, even people that shouldn't even be applying for it because they got no damn skills and abilities. And you got to interview them, and you're just like, oh my God, stop, please leave. So a lot of times it's pretty well known who's most likely going to get the position. Does it happen every time? Not every time, but most every time, because everybody else can see who's the most qualified for the position.
Right.
But in law enforcement, or in government work, I should say, you have to have a process and you have to interview everybody.
Yep. So they put on a fake process.
Yes.
And we all know that. And it's not always who's most qualified. It's also who you know.
Sometimes.
Who you've it is.
Yeah, it's a lot like private industry too.
Who you pissed off. Well, in private industry, I don't care. As a business owner, I don't give a fuck how nice you are. You're going to get promoted if you work hard and you show yourself, right? I'm not just going to pay you more because I like you. I'm going to be like, he's been busting his ass. And he's actually got visions for the company. You know what I mean? But yeah, in bigger companies, if you have people in charge of certain divisions, of course, the big, huge companies, I guess I was thinking smaller companies like ours, but yeah.
No, ours is different.
So it's the good old boy system. They say it's not, but it is. And it's fine. When you win, you win.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're on the receiving side of that, and sometimes you're on the bad side. But I don't hide that shit anymore.
Right. Right. It's everybody else went through the same process, right? I mean, that's normal business in most jobs. But the difference is in law enforcement or government work, you got to hide it behind this fair process so everybody can interview, and then you hire.
Which pisses everybody off, right?
It'd be nice if you could just hire the person that you want for the position.
Right.
But you got all the government rules and regulations and HR crap.
Yes. Yeah. So anyways, without getting off on a tangent too much there, it is the good old boy system. And anyways, I was certainly asked for it. And so I knew I was probably going to get it after the interview process. And so that was their first drug canines. And there was me and one other two. Oh, you know what? They had the drug canines before I even went over there. Disregard. Yeah. Because I was actually Yakima Police Department. That's how I met Jason, who I went into business with Canine Solutions. Yeah.
They got a second one, right?
They got a second one. Yeah. And so they were training with me as a state trooper. They were riding with me and learning how to run canines and drug detection dogs. And so then I forgot about that part. And so then now I'm at YPD and,
you're instructing their guys how to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. It's funny what comes back to you. Mm-hmm. And, so yeah, they had a second position. And, so I got selected. And scooped that canine up. And so here I am 2 years later doing exactly what I was doing with a different dog named Flash. He was a shepherd mix. She was a shepherd mix, and started running that dog in a city environment. And the unfortunate thing was that, and I had told him this, and this is government, this is what happens, is they do it the same. They also have, bite dogs, canines too. I work with those too. Did a lot of decoy work for them and stuff. But what happens is, police departments want to get certain programs, but they don't always run them right, and they don't always listen. And same with military. And so they got these drug dogs, And for a while, they let me kind of run and do interdiction stuff. And we were seizing some stuff and some cars and money. And then they decided that manpower needed you to be assigned to a squad. And so now I got to run around with a dog that's going nuts because I can't get her enough work because they want me to answer calls. And then while they want me to go search a car, I have to get on the radio and say, I was just sent to a DV and I have one in custody. So I can't even respond to go use my dog to drug calls. And it just became, like a lot of things in law enforcement, a fucking joke. And so although I loved that dog, I started realizing that they're not going to change. And how can you run a dog when you have somebody in custody? Yeah, I mean, that's just the stupidest thing, to get a canine officer tied up with somebody in custody. But they did it, and it was fucking stupid. And the administration didn't listen, of course. So I started realizing, hey, I want to do other things. I've already done canine, and I was kind of bored of it. And I'm like, I really need to push myself in a different position. But I did get to do a lot of training, train other guys. I was the department canine trainer. And so I got to train some other guys that were going to take over canines and things like that. And a lot of cool opportunities there. So it wasn't all wasted. Just definitely was not going to go the way it was supposed to go. So I started, looking for other opportunities. You got anything, Lurch?
And one came available. This is something I always wanted to do, was detective type work. In the Washington State Patrol, it's difficult to do because you have to join a state task force, and there's probably one trooper on that task force, and there's around the state, I don't know, let's say maybe each county, let's say every county's got one, you got 39. So and they're not all going to have a trooper on. So maybe there's 30 opportunities around the whole state to get those positions. And once you're in them, people don't leave them. And in a lot of agencies, you can only do those special positions for 5-6 years. With the patrol, once you're in, you're in. And that's good and bad. You get you get a seasoned detective that's really good at his job or her job, but you don't get a lot of opportunity. And so that never came available for me. So this is something I always want to do, a little bit jealous of it, but you got an opportunity to do some different type of work.
I did. And I'm trying to remember the timeline, but
February 2010.
2010. Says, yeah. Okay. Was that safe? PROAC. So, when I went into law enforcement, and God bless y'all, I like doing proactive police work. And so I never had any interest in being a fucking homicide detective. I wanted to be a detective, but I wanted to be a proactive detective, one that works informants, ones that does a lot of search warrants, ones that is actually taking people to jail. And we need all those other detectives. But the problem with a homicide detective is you don't do shit proactive. All you do is go to fucking dead bodies and then try to clean it up. You know what I mean? And that's cool. Again, I'm not talking bad. That doesn't work for my personality. That sounds boring as shit. I need to be out in doing shit and making a difference now. And
depending on where you're at, homicide detectives, you're not going to be super busy like the PROAC team, where there's obviously a lot of crime of all different sorts. So you're constantly busy moving.
Right.
Whereas a detective on a homicide in a smaller county, that may be several months of your time is just focused on that one.
Right.
Crime.
And it's reactive,
yes,
right?
Yes.
That's the difference.
The only reactive part of it is maybe at the end you make an arrest.
Right.
Whereas with this, they call it the PROAC or proactive unit, you're out there trying to stop the crime from occurring.
Yeah. Yeah. Homicide detectives isn't out arresting murderers before they murder.
No. It's
unfortunately. Like, hey, somebody else got murdered. Nice. Yeah. Right. So anyways, again, none of that is that. I hope that didn't come across at all.
No.
God bless him. Go for it.
I'm just trying to explain, for the listening audience.
Gotcha.
Why would you prefer one over the other? Because obviously, if you talk about a homicide, major crime, right? And who wouldn't want to help solve a homicide? It's because it's tedious work.
Yes.
It's not high speed, lots of things going on at once.
Right.
Proactive type work. It's just a different kind of work. It's satisfying in its own if you're built for that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so I knew in my career I was never going to do that kind of detective work. And then there was property crimes, positions, and all this shit. And a lot of guys get them because they want to get off the road. I get it. I'll rather work the road. Fuck that. So I knew right away. And so PROACT, this was another, I got to get involved in a lot of new shit, like SCAT with the State Patrol, brand new program. Street Crimes was a brand new program for Yakima Police Department. Again, they came to me because of my experience with SCAT. Although it's different, they realized that I had been on a proactive type unit. And so, the old shoulder nudge and the old, hey, this position's coming.
You should put in for it.
Yeah, we're going to start a team. I mean, we're going to do interviews and stuff, but, you might interview good and get it. So there was a handful of us, 4 or 5 of us, and we all got selected to start this brand new street crimes team. And a street crimes team is exactly like it is in a lot of different agencies. It's running and gunning, and it's doing a ton of different crimes. So, it was a fun position. I got a lot of leeway, a lot of freedom. I did some undercover work, like real undercover work. And although it was fun.
You look like a dirtbag.
I do. I have a picture somewhere.
It's still on your driver's license. I don't think it's changed yet, has it? Or did you finally have to change?
No, it doesn't. But I have a picture in my chains.
Oh, okay.
And I had a lot of weight, my big beard. I mean, you would never
long hair
tag me. That's when I got a lot of my tattoos, when I was doing a lot of undercover work. I just think that was timing too. I will back up a little bit because we forgot. So this is interesting. In 2006, April 6, 2006, I left State Patrol, took a day off, started April 6, 2006. December 23rd, 2006 was when I was in my fatal shooting. And so I had forgot to talk about that. So ride longer and treat your ass with some respect already. Get hooked up with a premium butt buffer seat cushion. This company of bikers developed a super thin hospital-grade seat cushion made of solid and elastic materials, and it's unlike those gel pads that will leak if punctured. The butt buffer is designed not to slide around in your seat, fits all motorcycles, installs in seconds, easily cleans, and helps to dampen vibrations. With plenty of models to choose from, they assure you'll have a comfortable ass when riding. Head over to the Law Abiding Biker store and check out our lineup of butt buffer seat cushions. And then 2 days later was Christmas. So that was my first year. I didn't even have a full year on. I won't go over that entire situation, not because I can't. But let's just say it was a long pursuit. It was a burglary, and some pretty nasty guys who had broke into a teacher's house. They're methed out. They jacked off all over her panties and left their jizz behind.
That part I did not know.
And yeah, they were real sickos. And then one of them we caught. We saw driving. We kind of had some, anyways, I don't want to get too deep in the story, but anyways, we knew who that was based on some footage and some eyewitnesses. And then so a long pursuit ensued, in which we kind of cornered him. He got stuck in a yard and he backed up and tagged one of my sergeant at that time, hit one of my sergeants, and then rammed another car, another female officer who went unconscious. He hit her so hard. And at that time, we needed to stop the threat. So I and another took that individual out. But getting where that story is, during that time, after that was, it wasn't long after that when the PROACT it was after that the K9 came up, and then PROACT unit. So, and during this undercover stint, was when I started getting some tattoos after the shooting, and then I got more tattoos while I was working undercover. So that's I actually got my first one at the State Patrol. That's when I started at the State Patrol. And then, they kind of went through the next years is where you see the rest of my sleeves getting sleeved out over many years. I was working on that, but it definitely helped with my undercover work. And I'll get into that a little bit. So, the PROACT team did a lot of different stuff. So we worked everything from gangs to prostitution, to burglary rings, to fencing, stolen property rings, to guns. Pretty much whatever we're having a problem with the city, they would put us on it like flies on shit and say, hey, we're having way too many burglaries. We need to get some intel. We need to get some informants. I worked informants, put them on contracts and things like that, and got inside information. Some of the craziest things I did, looking back, and probably some of the most scary things in my career that I did. That was a time in my life. I'm so glad I did it, that I get to say I worked true undercover. I was meeting with criminals. I was buying guns. I was buying stolen property. I was meeting with them in, lots and alleys and wires. We had wires and fucking crazy. And I was working 7 days a week. You're on your phone a lot. Your informants, even on the weekends, your informants are texting you. You got to keep a good relationship with your informants. And so it's kind of a whirlwind. But if I get time, I'll bring the picture up, but I looked the part, and, nobody ever second guessed that, or thought I was a cop. And, so some of the scariest stuff I did, we were putting trackers on cars. So, we'd get a warrant, and then we'd be able to track some of our suspects after we bought dope from them or guns or whatnot. And I was one of the guys that always volunteered to go out in the middle of the night and sneak into people's driveways, in shitty areas. If you don't think your heart's going on that, I'm not going to lie. I had gotten pretty bored, but that was not boring anymore. And, I would go down to car lots, because when you're doing it in the dark, it's hard to know. You don't want the trackers to fall off, and they're magnets, some of them. And, so I would go to like a car lot. So I knew it was a Chrysler 300S, let's just say, that I was going to put it under. Well, there are certain voids in those cars, but if you don't know where they are, when you're in a armed shithead's driveway at 3 a.m, putting a tracker on, get that fucker on and get the fuck out. And so you needed to know. So we go to car lots, and we knew dealerships, and they would let us go practice. And so I would go, and we would find good voids, put them up on a lift and go, that's a good void. And then I would learn how to get under it and where to reach and what to touch so that I could get the tracker where we wanted it. But I don't know why. I was a little crazy, still am. I volunteered for that. A lot of the guys didn't necessarily want to do that, but I did it. And luckily I'm alive. I won't do complete, tell how we do certain things, tradecraft, so to speak. I don't want to give too much away. But we had a backup if somebody would have came out or something like that. But, anyways, luckily I was pretty good at it, and I was very sneaky, and, hooded sweatshirts and shit and black clothing, and, get the drop off and all that kind of stuff. So I was doing a lot of that. And then, as I got deeper undercover, I started a couple cases. I didn't actually even need to, but I just got in with these people, this bad crowd. And, I was able to just fucking start a big operation on, some stolen property, drugs, guns. It was a huge burglary ring. And I basically would meet with these folks, and I became friends with them. And they trusted me. We befriended them. And, pretty much within a month or two of that undercover operation, I had them eaten out of my hand, and they would bring me anything I wanted. And we started solving burglaries. We'd have burglaries over the weekend, and then they would bring me the property from the burglaries and shit like that. So with that said, definitely, undercover is a whole nother beast, mentally, for me, because no matter how comfortable you are having criminals in your car next to you that are obviously trafficking in guns and all that shit. It's a delicate balance, and, having wires and cars and figuring all that out. You become very techie, but also very rewarding, because after being undercover for a long time, the problem is, and you see some of this in the undercover books and like some of the OMG undercover books, it sucks. And they talk about it too. There's a whole bunch of interagency politics going on. And what sucks is I was getting very close to the next guy in the ring, and they decided they wanted to stop the operation. And I could have went way farther than I was. And just because they thought that that was good enough for that burglary ring and they wanted to move on because we were having gang problems and they wanted us to get in with more gang people. And it just sucks to be pulled out, and you don't agree with it. And then once you get pulled out, then everybody obviously is going to know you're an undercover cop at that point, and the search warrants, everybody's doors get kicked in, everybody goes to jail, and the operation comes to a cease. So that's eventually how my undercover came, not by choice, but they wanted to wrap that case up. And when I got done with that stint of several years of undercover work and being around all these criminals, and it definitely, I can see some of those guys were in long. It definitely can change you a little bit. And honestly, you get tired of being around such shitty people and that shitty environment and working 7 days a week. And it was funny because I look like such shit. I did realize really quick that people do get treated different based on your looks.
Oh, for sure.
And
you do read a book by its cover, even
yes.
if it's just an initial, appraisal of them. You look at them, is this person safe or not? We do it all the time. Do I want to talk to this person or not?
Yeah.
So when you look like a shithead, people are going to assume you're a shithead.
Yep. I experienced when I was out on my days off, quite a few different restaurants, stores. You can see security watching you. I look like a shithead, guys. I mean, I did. I look like a shithead, and getting stopped, asking not to bring your backpack in and stuff. And I'm the same person, but I was totally getting judged by how I looked. And so that does happen. That's actually a good experience to go, oh, that does actually happen a lot. So whatever, I dealt with it. And, but when my undercover came up, I could have done more undercover, but I was like, that's enough. I'm alive. I had fake ID, legit ID. So if police stop me, and we did get stopped by police.
It's from the state of Washington.
It is.
Yeah,
we had to go over to West Side and get it. I still have a picture of it. My undercover name was Ryan Ramsey. Same date of birth. There's some techniques you don't want to do, but
don't want to get too far away.
So don't want to get too far away. Ryan Ramsey. And so when I was done with the undercover, I was like, that's enough. I'm okay. And it was stressful. I'm not going to lie to you. It consumed me. And when they took everybody down after that big case, I actually went on vacation with my wife and child, and they called me and said, well, we just hit all the search warrants. Everybody's in custody. We booked them. Usually the case agent, the guy or the undercover doesn't do the takedowns. And so good experience. I have stories. I'm alive, and I made a big impact. And so I'm proud of that. But it definitely took a mental toll on me during those couple of years that I was doing that. So I was kind of glad to just be done with it. And then of course, ProAct, so we went back.
So was it Safe Streets and then it turned into ProAct?
No, ProAct was first. We haven't even hit Safe Streets yet.
All right, perfect.
I didn't do any undercover other than work informants and Safe Streets. So
okay. I'm not sure if I have the timeline right, but were you doing hookers back then too?
We were.
Okay. So I mentioned that earlier or at the end of the last podcast as a little teaser.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had to show anybody your wiener?
Quite a few.
So you did some prostitute stuff.
Yeah, I did. We did a lot of prostitution stings and escort stings. And so that was just a lot of fun. It was a little bit crazy. We had all our undercover cars, and you guys have seen it on TV. Typical working the girls in our problem districts and things like that. And, still looking like a crap head kind of, because I wasn't in a full undercover then. So doing some of that UC stuff and, getting on these websites back then, and we would rent hotel rooms, and I would call these escorts, and there was other guys doing it too. But I was the guy that they would never make as a cop. And so there was multiple times in which, because I was the guy, I'm really not afraid of my nudity.
No shit.
I'm kind of a nudist, and I don't care. And so there was some of the girls would think that you can't get fully naked and show them your wiener when you're a cop. I don't know where they get that information. Just a lot of cops don't want to do that. But I was the guy that, with one of the ones that were hard to crack.
Send in Urlacher.
Or send in Urlacher because he'll dance naked. I danced naked, dude, for one of them. We had the music going, dude, and I was like all in. Obviously, you can't
a line you can't
you're not
cross.
having sex with them or anything like that. I mean, if it came to a certain thing, you'd be like, okay, we're done here. But they just trust you if you're willing to do that. And the other one was, they get in the car and we'd pick them up and throw them in the car and try to take them to a hotel or something. And they would say, they would reach over because if you're a cop, you can't let them touch your wiener is what they think. And they'd grab a big old handful of cock and then they would trust you after that. And I was one of those too. One of our other guys would always we stopped using him because he would push their hand away. Dude, you can't.
That's not what you're there for.
That is, you're there to have sex with a girl. You're going to pay her and you're pushing her hand away because you want to wait till the hotel. And some of those girls got out right away. And we would have to pick them up because we'd have tail cars and scoop them up that way. But we're like, dude, that is not a convincing argument. So I was the guy, and obviously there are ethics. You can't let them go, farther than that, and actually do the act and things like that.
Sexual acts.
But that kind of stuff, if they reach over and do that, I mean, that's just life. And that seals the deal basically for them. And so I got a lot of stories about that. And in fact, when my crew came in several times of them, dude, I was butt naked.
Oh, no. Urlacher, put your clothes on.
Because they would get a joining room with a joining door.
Yeah,
and then when I would give the signal, and they'd come in and go, God damn it. Here I am, dude. Just
guys.
Buck naked, dude. We got a lot. And we would laugh and go out and drink beers after that and have a lot of fun. So I kind of got that reputation. You guys know me that's my true personality. I'm a little bit crazy. I'll push the envelope. And it's a lot of laughs along with it. Prostitution isn't really that dangerous, working prostitutes. So, it's probably one of the least, right?
I would say so.
Dangerous until you start dealing with some of the pimps and stuff.
Right.
But, most of the girls, we would just pick up the girl on their own and, deal with that. But yeah, a lot of escort. I think a lot of that still goes on. So that was, a lot of what we did too, escorts and prostitutes. And then, we did a lot of gang stuff.
Yeah. Looking at the show notes here, you kind of moved into gangs from there.
I did. Big problem with gangs. Here I am. And again, typical government agency. They decided they need manpower back on the road. So the street crimes unit, who was just fucking killing it, got dismantled. Got dismantled. And we're back in patrol cars. In uniforms,
cleaned up, with your names on your shirts.
Yep. All cleaned back up. You're right.
Yeah. So now you were trying to, be proactive and quasi undercover, right?
Right.
And now you're back in a patrol car with your face and your name.
Yep.
How you going to go back to that? From that? But I get it. Manpower's one thing, but it doesn't seem like a really good idea.
No, there's other places they could have pulled from.
You burn the whole team.
Yeah, and you had the most successful. I mean, they gave us awards. They were showing stats at city council and that you're banning something that was super successful. But this is government, and some decisions were made. Whatever, story of government career. And so I really realized, okay, what's my next thing? I was like back on patrol, and a position came up, and I was super excited about it. And it was being on an FBI task force called the Safe Streets. It's a Safe Streets gang initiative. There's actually task force all over the U.S. to this day.
Funded by that initiative.
Mm-hmm. And basically you're targeting gangs, but in a detective position, proactive detective position. And because of all my experience, and I interviewed, that one wasn't a tap on the shoulder. That was actually, there was a lot of people that applied for that. And so, me and another guy from the street crimes unit were selected. There was only 2 positions. We worked directly with, we had 2 FBI agents on that task force with us, and we were on it. And then some other folks, I think, did we have a DE? I can't remember. But anywho, what we were supposed to do in that and is proactive, gang, drugs, guns, everything that had to do with gangs.
A lot of shootings at that time.
A lot of shootings at that time. Yeah.
A lot.
And so I was super stoked about that position and dove right in. telling myself I wasn't that interested in actually doing undercover stuff myself. I still just dabbled, easy meets and things like that, but never really, met deep like I did before. I kind of was like trying to stay out of that a little bit because of my experiences, but I took on full force getting good informants. And so that's how I did my investigation with gang informants, that we would, get out of jail or pen charges if they wanted to work it off. We had some paid informants that just worked for pay. And that's when I did a lot of my more tracker work, putting trackers under cars at night and shit like that. Some of those stories I told you, a lot of that came from this. I kind of jumped the gun on that. But
as that happens in stories, talking about stuff, it's interesting. You look back on a 30-year career, and it's not very easy to put it in chronological order because your thoughts come to you, memories come to you as you walk down it. Yeah, totally. It's blending together now. So I worked in that task force for a year, and I went hard, as I do. I don't really know what the speed slow is, as everybody that knows me. I just get shit done. And if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it full force, and I'm going to do it to the best of my abilities, and I'm not going to slack. And I will say I was the busiest on that team as far as cases and caseload, and I got to put other undercovers into the undercover situation. And I worked a lot of, learned how to really wire guys up very secretively and cameras and different things. I did a lot of that, and I would put other guys in the UC situation, UC undercover, if I have messed you up with that term, and monitor. And we had vans and cameras, and we had a lot of resources at our disposal because we were with the FBI now. And I was, basically cross-commissioned. So did a lot of that, a lot of arrests, a lot of guns, a lot of drugs. But here we go again. A year later, even though we're kicking ass, and the FBI guy I know very well, we talked a couple of years ago, and he's still very pissed at the way that went down. And they decided to pull funding just from that task force because they were consolidating some stuff, even though we were one of the top. It's just government. And so all of a sudden I have all these cases going, and we're ready to take some big players down, dissolved. And so I have to wrap up all my cases early. They let me work for like a month. I would go in, I worked weekends to try to close the cases basically. And if some of them just faded out, that we were getting close, and that's always frustrating. There's a lot of frustration in law enforcement on stuff like that. You see that not just in city police, but in county and in state agencies, that those special things, when push comes to shove and there's money involved, they go away first.
Yes.
Which is very frustrating if you're in that position, because those positions are making some, really good gains, and they're very effective. And to have it taken out from underneath you, I would imagine, is devastating.
It is.
Yeah. I never,
and you get pissed.
Never went through it, but yeah, for sure. You put so much into it, and then budget.
Thanks for the good job. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. It's just no thanks.
Yeah, never
nothing.
Experienced it, but I imagine it sucks ass.
Because
just the feeling.
I was planning on spending at least 5-6 years on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyways, it was a good experience. Got to work a lot of cases. Met some really good folks that I worked with in there. Got a lot of experience. We were working that's when I worked some organized motorcycle gang stuff too, because that's gangs. And we were doing some of that too here locally. But at the end of the day, here I am again, back on patrol, clean cut, no more surveillance and all that, just back taking calls. And I was like, okay, what's the next thing? Well, the next thing didn't come for, go ahead.
Before we get into the next thing, because it's kind of intermingled in there, but it's around the same time frame as the Blue Knights Motorcycle Club.
What's the question?
We started.
Okay.
I just brought it up to
I got you. Thank you.
It's in the notes here from 2008 to 2013. You and I were the president and vice president of the Blue Knights Motorcycle Club here in Yakima. We started it.
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did during that time. I forgot about that. So on the side, we started the first chapter of the Blue Knights in this area. It's still going. We passed the torch eventually, but we had a lot of my agency people involved and different agencies.
Pretty big chapter at one point. At least
it was
like 40 people.
We did on paper.
On paper, yeah. So without talking poorly of the Blue Knights, because it is a good organization, I got nothing bad to say about them, and the people, especially here that are still in, are outstanding. It was just not quite for us, meaning we didn't want to just, belong to a club and go have dinner and hang out. We wanted to ride bikes. And so we wanted to start a club or be part of a club that really focused around motorcycling and riding, not just being part of a club that you had to do some work to become part of. I'm not talking about hazing people and all that crap that happens with, OMG clubs, but something that you don't just automatically become part of because you're a law enforcement officer. So we stepped down and passed the torch on the Blue Knights, and then started in 2013 the Sworn Few Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club, which is from scratch. We had looked at another club. We thought that would be a good fit. It just didn't work out, and decided to start our own. And that's one of the best things we've done. It's because now we have a group that is nuts about motorcycles, that rides. And as you guys see, who listen to the podcast or watch the YouTube channel, when we take off, we take off. We do 500, 600, 700 miles a day and ride. And so while the Blue Knights was a great experience, and I'm glad we started it and got it going in this area, the Sworn Few has been just a godsend. It's a true brotherhood. One of the best trips that I've been on, and there's been a lot of great ones, is this last Canada one. It was, there's several of us going through, the challenges of a career in law enforcement. And as younger cops, that kind of stuff you don't think affects you, just push it away. And, we go on trips and we go to these busy cities and we'd hang out and have a good time. But this was a out in the middle of nowhere kind of trip where you had to just hang out and talk, and it was just peaceful. It was a perfect trip at the right time.
Yep. Yeah, that's when we decided to do the Sworn Few. Yeah. Quite honestly, and again, we love the Blue Knights, but I'll just tell you right now, there's a lot of cops that I would never let in our club because they're jackasses. And that doesn't mean they're not good cops. I'm just saying, just because you're a cop doesn't mean you're going to make a good club member.
Right.
And so that's what we learned. And we're like, nope. And we've talked about the Sworn Few before, about how selective we are on, yes, you do have to be a cop, but you have to be a certain type of cop and understanding and stuff like that. And just being a cop doesn't make you a club member.
If you look at our club, most of there's not a whole lot of people from more than one agency. It's pretty spread out, different agencies.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
you're looking for the type of person, and whatever club you decide you want to make, if you want a electrical engineers club, firefighters club, whatever.
Because you're a firefighter doesn't mean you're going to be a good club member. Yeah.
Just whatever you decide to do, make sure you pick, have it set up so you pick people that are like-minded, that you enjoy being around.
Yep. Good call.
But anyways, that's just part of it.
No, I'm glad you brought that up.
On top of everything else, started 2 motorcycle clubs in that time.
No shit, dude. No shit. Yeah. And back then, had the Wide Glide. I had the 05 Wide Glide we were riding back then when we were at the club, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should have bought that one.
Yeah, I know, dude.
I've been looking for my 06 Wide Glide. It was my first Harley. I had crotch rockets before that. And I'm always looking for my 2006 Wide Glide, and if I ever find it, I'm buying it. But found Ryan's at one point. It was down in Vancouver. Somebody had it. I mean,
it's very bad timing.
Very distinctive bike. Yeah, it was we're in a transition period. Didn't have the funds to buy it. Looking back on it, I wish we would.
I know. I'd love to do a video on that.
I'm still looking, by the way. I keep my eyes open. If I see that or mine, we're
still around somewhere.
They're getting bought.
Yeah, buddy. I like it. Okay, so I'm back on patrol and thinking, the fuck am I going to do? I think I was working like a day shift, and
somewhere in here we have to intermingle starting lab too.
Oh yeah, true.
It's all around the same time period right now.
Okay, good. So I'm wrapping my head around that. So, hey, Bikeaholic, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? 03D has the products you dream about for your bike. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson and Honda Goldwing motorcycles. 03D's got your back with chrome and black parts, lighting, and other comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation. That equals less time installing and more time riding. Zero 3D has a design team of writers with over 40 years of experience with a passion for design and innovation. Zero Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. They pride themselves on great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them. Email sales@zero3d.com or give them a call, 715-808-0027. Check out your local Harley or Honda dealership and ask for Zero or Gold Strike parts. A new leader has emerged, so check out Zero 3D's custom line of Gold Strike products for the all-new Honda Goldwings. Better yet, help support us and head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of Zero 3D products. Now I'm back on patrol and I'm thinking, what's the next thing I'm going to do? And
it seems like you started getting wrapped up in a lot of administrative stuff. They were giving you grants and technology and all kinds of stuff.
Yes, good call. Yeah, I don't want to get too involved in that because it's kind of boring. But being a techie guy like I am, obviously we had a new system called Spillman, and I became heavily involved in that and teaching officers how to use these computer systems. And then I became an instructor for it, and I ran a committee on it as we implemented it into the department. So I was dabbling in that. I became a firearms instructor. During that time, I was a firearms instructor for 8 years of my career, at Yakima Police Department. And, so instructing firearms, I did peer support team member for quite a while. I'm trying to remember some of this. I was on patrol, but I was trying to break it up and do things that meant more to me. And not that patrol isn't super important. Don't get me wrong. That's not where I wanted to be. And I was bored and I wanted to do other things. So I stepped up to the plate on some of those different positions. And then I also became, during that time, a formal training officer. And I trained a plethora of rookies from scratch. And that's a job. And I commend all FTOs, because by the time you're done with one, you are burned the frick out. It's a big responsibility. Putting a young lad in a car, and they've been out of the academy. They're a daisy fresh rook, and training them to and not get killed while you're training them, because they're making mistakes.
Oh yeah.
And serious officer safety mistakes. And you just don't want that on your watch. And it seems like a long time. It's like 16 weeks, but it's not enough. Even after that, when you put them on their own, it's just such a hard job. Besides staying alive, all the different crimes and things and rules, and to get sued and accidentally use a little too much force, or it's just, you got to make, and we wash a lot, and that's always sad. There were some I had big hopes for, and they're no longer with as a police department. They're not with us. And, so you would always, you try your best, but not everybody's cut out for it. It's just not for everybody.
It is a big responsibility, and I did some of it as well. And here's what I'll say is, I know what it meant to me, especially at the time. Now you're retired, you look back on it, you're like, well, okay, whatever, it's fun. But as you're going through it and you have the job, you know what it took to get there, and you know what it means to you. So to do your best and try to train somebody to do it, and they can't do it, and you have to recommend that they are separated, that's tough, because I knew what it meant to me. So to take that away from somebody's tough. Because they've already been through the whole academy. Oh yeah,
they've got a
this may
whole
be
life
their lifelong dream,
dude.
But you're like, you can't do this. I'm sorry.
No, because you're going to get killed.
In my good conscience, I can't recommend that you pass. So that is a tough decision to make. It's a heavy one, because I knew what it meant to me. To tell somebody they can't do it, it hurts.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes you feel like it's your fault.
Yeah.
Even though you're like,
absolutely,
how can I train different? And how can I get them to understand this? And I've tried it this way and tried it this way. And so you're always in the back of your mind, if you have any conscience at all and empathy, you're like, is there something that I could have did better?
Even though you bounce that off your fellow instructors, you got a supervisor that's overseeing the program that you bounce it off of. And you still have some ownership, and you feel like maybe I could have done better.
Right. You just hate to be you hate to see people fail, but that's a fact of life. So honestly, I wanted to get out of being an FTO. I did it for years, and I was kind of burned out on it.
It will wear you out.
It will. We're used to being in a patrol car where we work by ourselves, and I don't like being with somebody all the time. I'm very independent, and I can do my own shit. And so every day with somebody that you got to sit in the passenger seat, and You can't do everything you want. You can't go everywhere you want because you're like, oh God, I could be busting those people over there. And you're no, stay on track. This guy needs to learn this, and it's going to take him 4 hours to do this fucking report that takes me 5 minutes. You know, it's hard.
You come home exhausted,
you
mentally, physically. Your throat's sore because you've been talking all day, telling them what to do, and then you come home to your family, and you're like, and you just try to be present. And
Correct.
And not worn out.
Correct. yeah. Face first into a pillow.
Yeah, as soon as you get home, the wife's like, asks you a question. You're like, all right, listen. I can't make any decisions.
I'm checked out.
I made them all today. Whatever you want to do, baby, I love you. Let's
burn the house down.
Let's do that.
Burn it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So
let me ask you, is there, without naming any of them, is there something, what really sticks out in your head is the funniest thing that one of your trainees did?
I don't know. That's a good question. I need.
Okay.
God, I don't know, dude.
So I hadn't seen one of the guys that I trained in a long time, and randomly just ran into him, and I can't remember where it was.
I'll tell you another story of the funniest things I did to rookies.
Oh, go ahead.
So, because I'm a clown, and I told you guys in the last episode, I got gigged at the State Patrol Academy by my peers for not being serious enough. I can't. And so it's not hazing, so don't get mad at me, but one of the things that I would do to rookies, we would do search warrants, and or we would do a security sweep or whatever the case was. And some of the, obviously you guys probably know the houses we go into, it's not like the house you live in, filled with filth, to where you gag sometimes, dirty baby diapers in piles where they won't even take them to the trash, no carpet, cat piss. And they're all into porn, heavy porn and sex toys. And so what I would do, and I probably, I only did it around people that I trust would not like get mad, but technically I could get disciplined for that. But I had quite a few years on. And so what I would do is every search warrant, you're going to find dildos. They're just, you're looking under beds for dope. There's going to be dills. And we would always teach the rookies, like before a search, fucking put latex gloves on. Okay. And of course they would forget. And because they weren't, maybe they were learning or whatever, or even if they had gloves on. And I would always.
Or they wear a regular glove. And
yes. Like their patrol glove or something.
You're just taking that shit with you back in the car. So
we're collecting evidence and whatnot. And so of course I'm gloved, but I'd always grab one of those
toss it out.
Used dills, and I would just go, say whatever their name was. Hey, you need to tag this for evidence. And by the time you threw it and they put their hands up, they'd catch this big old dill, dude. And all the other patrol officers are fucking just crying and laughing. Fucking Urlacher. Oh my God. And all that, 'cause if they would have told me, I probably would have got in trouble for doing that to a rookie, or if a rookie would have told, but it's not like illegal. It was just kind of a rite of passage, and it's funny as shit to me, dude. And they would just be like, fucking and then they would think, a couple of them, speaking of funny stories, because they don't quite know.
But it's also,
then they think they're supposed to put it in evidence. We're like, and so then they would be like, glove up,
teaching moment
and go to get it and get a bag, and we're like, we're fucking with you. You do not need to take a dildo. That has no evidentiary value here in this case.
What did they learn? They learned to put some rubber gloves on.
Yes.
And it was a funny situation. They'll look back and laugh too.
I have some rookies that come to me and tell me about stories.
Yes.
Because I have some rookies.
I think I mentioned it last podcast is you just never know the things that you say and do, the impact it'll have on people.
Yeah.
Those rookies will remember that.
At my retirement.
Yeah.
One of the rookies came up to me. And I didn't directly train him, but all the calls we had districts together. And so his FTO, every call we went on, we kind of went together for anything that was hot. And he came up to me and he tells people right in this group, he's like, Urlacher was the first time, he goes, I had all these FTOs, and I knew Urlacher was an FTO, but we're a DV situation. And he goes, Urlacher was the first time that I realized we can fucking yell at people. Because he never seen. He goes, all of a sudden this guy wouldn't shut up, and Urlacher just turned to him, and you're not supposed to do this. Okay, you can get in trouble for it. But I said something like, shut the fuck up and listen. Something like that. And he goes, from that point on, I realized we can kind of do that. And it does calm the situation.
Audience,
correct. If you know your audience.
And they will respond.
I had dealt with this guy. I knew
and he responded
He
'Cause that's what
responded.
he
He
needed
shut the
to
fuck
hear.
up.
Yeah.
Because he knew shit was getting real. Yeah.
Sir, would you be quiet? Does not work for him.
Right.
Hey, Fred, shut the fuck up. Oh, sorry.
The whole situation was out of control. I just raised my voice and go, shut the fuck up. And I pointed at him. And he goes, I still remember that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, you can't say that to everybody, but if you know your audience, you can.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not supposed to swear, but whatever. We did back in the day. It didn't matter, but nowadays you're not supposed to. So
I'm glad that you're able to come up with those. I have one that you did to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Tell me, please do.
It was a hot summer day. We were doing canine training. And when it was really hot, we would leave our patrol cars running. And back then, we didn't have a whole lot of computers. It was mostly paper written stuff. And so it was not uncommon to have, you could go as cheap as like a little plastic file box in your passenger seat, seat belted in, or GALS, GALLS, was a law enforcement. Actually, it's a first responder provider of materials, right? So you can get a fancy little bag that you could put in your passenger seat. Well, what you did is Lenny took a massive shit.
Lenny was my canine.
Yeah. And so he put it in a plastic bag, didn't seal it, left the top open, and put it in my file box at the back. So I got in my car, and it was the worst smell I've ever smelled, and it took me forever to find it.
Dude, I do remember that.
Yeah.
We put it in
you and Chris did.
Rutherford's.
You did that too.
I put it, the air vents up by the windshield.
Oh,
We popped that windshield and we put the bag open down in there, and it took him forever. His car smelled. He was trying to clean it, and he's an anal.
Yes, he's
like super OCD.
He's interesting because he at the time would probably seem super pissed off about it, but then later on would laugh about it. Tell the story like it was great.
After he's done being pissed.
After he's done being mad at you for soiling his space.
Thus, why my peers at the State Patrol Academy said I don't take things seriously. And if I couldn't, I can't take things too seriously. I think it helped kept me sane to a certain extent too. But I love practical jokes, and I was always playing practical jokes on people. Yeah, dude.
You still do it. Fuck. I tell people, if you're in the law-abiding biker studio and Ryan is up in the attic and he says, "Come here," don't look up because you might see something you don't want to see.
Correct. Moving people's patrol cars while they're at calls to the alley, dude. It's just all kinds of.
On a hot day, turning the air conditioner off and turn the heat on.
Mexican music on full blast and their windshield wipers. So when they come out from the squad room, just lights on and shit, dude. Yeah. Oh, I could tell joke after joke, practical joke that I love playing those jokes. But, okay. Yes. Where are we?
Well, we're kind of bouncing around a little bit.
We are.
I'll come back.
Bring it back in.
But since we're talking about technology and some of that stuff, you became the first drone pilot and this kind of ties in with LAB. We haven't really talked about LAB yet. I'll save that to the end if you remind me how you walked down that path. But you were the first UAS drone pilot for the Yakima Police. Yeah. And that skill is actually, obviously, as people have watched our documentaries and we have the footage from the drone, that's one of the things that kind of moved over from law enforcement to LAB.
Yeah. Or vice versa, actually.
Or vice versa.
Yeah. Because I started flying drones when I started LAB back in 2013.
True. Sorry. Yeah.
And then, but back then it was just a podcast. And then we started the YouTube channel a year later. And then several years later, as I had the funds, I was able to really start being creative and buying proper gear, including drones. And so I got into that. When I started LAB, I wasn't a motorcycle officer. I was just working patrol, looking for my next gig. I will tell you that it took me 4 years to become a motors officer. I interviewed 4 times, and I will just go back because I can speak freely now. There was bullshit politics going on, and one particular individual, I'm not going to name names because that's not fair. It doesn't matter. I had crossed somebody who I proved wrong, who was a captain, and he had egg on his face and didn't get his way. And so for 4 years, even though I was the most qualified, because I had been out and proven myself on the drills and stuff like that, he held a grudge, and we knew that. And but I did what I did best, and I knew that it too shall pass. And I just kept putting in. And one of the guys that they picked had 0 experience, and then he quit, and I laughed. It's like, what do you expect? And so during this time, I'm running lab and I'm like, fine, I really want to be I want to finish my career as a motorcycle officer. It was definitely a dream of mine. With the state patrol, I could have did motorcycle officer if I would have got hired to do that position, but I never wanted to do it. With the state patrol, just because all of their motorcycles are over on the west side in Tacoma and Seattle, and they didn't ride Harleys. So whatever, I would support all bikes. I just really wanted to ride a Harley. And I never really played with that with the state patrol. I was just like, whatever. That's not my career path. But the opportunity came up at Yakima Police Department, and I was like, fuck, I could get on a motorcycle and I could end my career and do something I love. Lab's going at this time. I'm working 2 full-time jobs. You guys all know that have been with us a long time, the history of Lab and where we come from. Since 2013, until I retired, 2 full-time jobs, literally full-time jobs. And so I just kept my head down, and I knew what was going on. And I knew it was bullshit. There's a lot of that goes on in police departments and a lot of places, not just police departments, but a lot of people don't like those type of things. And when they get proved wrong, especially this individual. And so he kind of held it out. And about the 4th time I applied, he realized it really looked bad now. People were starting to take note, like, hey, what the fuck? We can't, this isn't going to go good. Yeah. And what was the original question? Motors Lab.
Well, I think you just took off from natural timeline, but
okay,
we'll get to Lab and how Lab started, but
okay,
this is
drone. That's what you
drone. And then,
yes.
Yeah. So, but yes, move into motors.
Okay.
Perfect.
So
then we'll go back and just give a little bit about Lab for those that don't know the history.
Okay. So then I don't remember the year. It's probably in there. But I got, the 4th time I applied, they could, like I said, people took notice and people were talking.
January 2nd, 2017.
And I applied again and interviewed the same and got selected. Finally got selected, and honestly, very proud moment for me after putting up with 4 years of bullshit and somebody that had an axe to grind, and that's very stressful within your career. But I did get selected and went to motor school and got top qualification time. Thank you. Clean passes. So I was very proud of that. I worked really hard and wanted to really, really do good. And so now I'm a motors officer. During this time, it was a little bit before I went on the unit because they had to do some transition with manpower. But I did. And so now I'm a motors officer and I'm running Lab. I'm doing drones. I was very blessed. Nobody else really, I dreamed of being a motorcycle instructor. At that time, I was like, that's my career path. I don't want to be accident reconstructionist, although I did fatality accidents. I just didn't want to be the recon part of it. I don't like math a ton. And the other guys wanted to do that. And I'm like, all I want to do is be an instructor. And they offered me to go to instructor school. And so I went to Spokane, Washington for 2 weeks and did a school and became instructor. Actually, there's videos still on that. They're old, but I kind of documented all the way through instructor school and the students and all that.
Maybe one of your first documentaries. Was it before any of the trip?
It really wasn't a documentary. It was more of just a vlogumentary.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just motor school.
Yeah.
And kind of what we put the people through and a lot of shots and things like that. I did multiple parts of it as I was doing that school over in Spokane. And at this time I'm flying drones for Lab. And so I get done. Now I'm the only instructor. I get to do some really cool motor school. By far my favorite thing, I wish I could still do it, is run motor schools and watch these officers. We had to wash a lot.
It's a high wash rate as one who washed out because of injury.
Yeah.
I can attest to that. It is a very hard thing to go through. You think, well, I ride motorcycles, I can do it. You may even be better off having no experience. So you just learn what the instructors tell you, but it is mentally and physically grueling.
Yeah, it is. And, but so rewarding to get some of the individuals through. And I just love being out on the course. I got to spend a lot of time. I'll tell you this, just because of the way I operate. I I did very good on our qualifications and times and all that. And the reason is because my first 2 years of being a motors officer and instructor, I still wanted to dial things in because I'm a little bit psycho that way. So for my first 2 years that other motors officers weren't doing is I would go down on my days off on my own time. And I did a lot of videos there on the channel too, where I would set up new patterns and I would train by myself, train, and sweat and train and go back out to the point where my body was a little broken. I just don't really know when to say stop. But by doing that for 2 years, nobody else was doing that. I got to a point where I perfected things and it got me to the level where I'm at now, where I don't have to think about things anymore. I can just flow with it and my brain, and there's not a lot of thought that goes into it because it became second nature to me, but I would have never got there just doing regular. You can pass the course, but it's not comfortable. You're nerve wracking. You may have to crash. You only get so many tries. There's all kinds of rules. And I see a lot of those guys and that's fine. But I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to go in like super confident. I just needed to master this, so to speak. And so I got to a point where, and I felt like I should as an instructor so that I could properly train other individuals. And I learned a lot, and a lot of things that weren't taught to me, I learned on my own. I'm like, why didn't somebody ever tell me that? Just little different ways that you do things can make a huge difference that if you're not taught about it, they get you through, right? It's kind of like the academy. You get you through. The rest is on you. And everybody's a little bit different. So I spent a lot of time doing that. And it's during this time, I've instructed a couple motor schools. And of course, I don't have enough to do with law-abiding biker media, being a motorcycle officer and instructor, that they, during the pandemic, never let a good pandemic go to waste, is what my chief told me. And he said that straight to my face. And everybody knows that saying, right? The military does it. And we got grants and some money. And they wanted a drone program. And who did they come to? Because
the high-tech redneck.
The high-tech redneck, because I've been computers, Spillman, I'm running a business, I'm doing all this. And I said, I will. They called me. I remember I was flying a drone when the sergeant called me and he goes, listen, the chief wonders if you want to start a drone program. I don't know yeah, go ahead. I'll take another. I don't know that the sergeant told me on the phone, he goes, I don't know shit about drones. I don't fucking care about drones. I don't want to know about them, but I know that you care about them. And I know that if I give you the reins, you will take the program, and we need you to build a program from the ground up. We need to get equipment. We need to do this, that, the other thing. And if you're willing, we'll do it. And I told him, I said, I need X amount of days. And I think it was a couple months. I go, because we don't have policies. We need to get a hold of city legal. We need to do all these. We need equipment. We need training program, and all these things. And so they did give me the time mostly. They wanted to cap it. And I'm like, they're kind of, I was like, you got to do this right. So let's just do it right. And they realized they really didn't have any other choice. So they mostly gave me the time to do this. But so for a couple of months, I spent every day. We got the equipment. We spent some money. This was in the height of the pandemic. And for security purposes, they wanted some drones and stuff. And so I kicked it off. And at first, I was the only drone pilot with the only equipment. And I'd put on demonstrations, and I wrote a whole training program. And then we were able to bring in some new guys and get some more equipment. Eventually, this went on for 3 or 4 years towards the end of my career. And so I started training, and then we got some big ass, high quality drones, much more than we had. And the program was scaling and helping set up cars and monitors and different things. And I would take guys out and train, and then bring the new guys in, help them get their pilot license and do all this stuff. and basically built that program from the ground up, and very proud of that. A shitload of work with very little thanks. Still really haven't been thanked for this to this day. But whatever, I didn't do it for the thanks. I did it because it was very important to me, because it can save officers' lives. And that's all I cared about. And that's what really drove me. And I don't say that like lightly. And I told many people that the reason that I did a lot of stuff on my own time, because you just have to use my own computers because their computers suck, and use Macs and things like that to get all this up and running. And my whole thing was, I'm tired. Like we did going through law enforcement. Do you know how many blind yards chasing people I jumped into? Blind roofs, blind everything, in the dark, jumping fences, yard to yard, chasing suspects. And I'm like, if I can stop an officer from having to jump that next fence, plus just the injuries that we endure, my knees, I took a lot of falls, a lot of tumbles. If we can make this job safer, then let's do that. So my first focus was cops. And then of course, missing endangered people, all the other search and rescue aspects of it, search warrants. When SWAT goes, I can go clear the whole perimeter. I can clear roofs, make sure there's no people, snipes, whatever, that kind of stuff. So that's why I was, and I love technology, and I was already in drones, and so that was one of the main reasons I did it. And I will be happy to tell you that the program's still going, and the drone pilots that I trained are still stay in touch with me, and are very happy that their time that we spent together, and that I was able to get them trained up before I left and all that. So they've carried the program on. And so, so very proud of that, that they're still going hot and heavy with that even after I left. I did a lot of free consulting, not for the department, because I don't care about that as much as I care about those guys. And so probably for the first year I retired, the department didn't even know, but they were calling me direct and asking about certain things. And I told myself, do it for those folks. I wasn't leave disgruntled at all. I just, you're tired of law enforcement. You're like, I'm out.
Trying to move on with
your life. But I'm like, for those guys, I can't do that. So the calls have ceased now. That's good. They kind of got it figured out, but I was willing to help them. I didn't do it for the department. I did it for those individuals because they're really good officers, and that program needs to be successful. It's good for the community and for the officers. So certainly don't want to see that program go down. So running lab on top of this the entire time. Lab's ramping up. We're building a studio during this time, which we're sitting in now. Chaos for the last 13 years of my career or so.
Well, it hasn't slowed down at all now that you're retired. It's been multiplied.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just all focused on this now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that kind of takes you to the end of your career. As I mentioned earlier on, you had in the last episode, kind of getting things started, is you've had a very, you've had a really good career with a lot of opportunities and done a lot of different things. So let's do a little look back here and kind of summarize it all together. And this is a combination of your time with the Yakima Sheriff's Office, Washington State Patrol, and Yakima Police Department. And here's what it says. Across his career, Ryan was voted Officer of the Year by his own squad 3 times, in 2008, 2014, and 2016. He received a Yakima PD commendation in 2008 for going above and beyond for a house fire victim, and recognition the same year for the apprehension of 2 assault suspects from a 2024 shooting. He was recognized by the DEA in 2004 for his contributions to drug law enforcement by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Washington. This is in 2005 for a large-scale operation called Operation No Moss, and by the Organized Crime Drug Task Force in 2007 for Operation Intolerance. Over the course of his career, he also authored and executed numerous search warrants. Of those honors, which one do you think means the most to you? Or do any of them? Or is it just,
honestly,
as a whole? I
was talking to my wife the other night. I forget why, but I actually answered that exact question. Or was it my wife? I can't remember. That's what happens. But I said, the ones that mean the most to you, I don't give a shit about the department. I don't give a shit about administration. I don't give a shit about anybody but the people, boots on the ground. And when your peers vote you as Squad Officer of the Year, regardless of any plaque or award,
cool.
that means way more than some captain or sergeant telling me. So those meant the most to me, just that verbal. And I got a plaque for it, an award for that too. And got it multiple years. So I was very proud of that. Yeah.
So as we move into retirement, actually you're in retirement now, but so it's almost been a year. This has been a long time coming on this podcast, but we wanted to do it justice. You retired from law enforcement July 31st. That's that Bibb and Tucker over there. July 31st, 2025, after 30 years of law enforcement service across multiple Washington agencies. You focused full-time on law-abiding biker during that, the motorcycle media brand, and the store that we have built alongside your law enforcement career. So what made this the right time to retire for you?
Well, number one is the magic age.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
If you don't know, basically the retirement system from the police department that I was on called Left 2, Law Enforcement Firefighters Retirement in Washington State, 53 is the magic age. So what that means is if you retire before 53 and you draw, you take a penalty. Now you can retire at earlier, but you don't want to touch it till you're 53. So you could retire at 50 and sit on it for 3 years and find another job or whatever. 30 years is a magic number. Not really, but for a lot of people it is. I was like, that's what I always expected to do, 30. Here's the deal, Bikeaholics. Hogworks is built around two things riders actually care about: high quality parts and customer service that stands behind them. That's why they become a go-to for Harley-Davidson and Indian aftermarket upgrades. And we're not just talking here. We run Hogworks parts on our own bikes because we want gear that fits right, looks right, and holds up in the real world. If you want to upgrade with confidence, check out the wide array of Hogworks products we proudly carry in the Law Abiding Biker store. Grab what you need and get back to riding. And if you don't see it in our store, hit us up on our contact form because we'd love to get it headed your way. And also my birthday was coming up. And luckily I have Law Abiding Biker Media. And so I was able to pull it in July, even though I didn't turn 53 till November of that year. It's fine. I had planned for all that because I didn't want to draw it until it was time.
Yeah.
And so I get full benefits.
Busy.
And this thing's getting busy. And I knew, and I'm so blessed. But I also, I also put in the hard work, right? So my whole plan starting, not when I started lab, but 2 years after, once we figured out like,
we can do
this is a job.
We can do some with this.
yeah, this needs to make money because my wife is not going to let me do this for 13 years, making jack shit and all the time I put in. So y'all know the story. A lot of you, we started figuring out we got to monetize this like any business. And if I don't monetize, I'm going to be limited on how many bikers I can reach and help because it takes equipment. These cameras you're looking at, computers, buildings, store. You get it. It's a business. And I had planned all along and was very excited to exit law enforcement. I'm proud of my career. I love motors. Absolutely. I don't know if that's one of your question.
That'd be one. So let's do it right now. What was the highlight of your career?
Motors officer and instructor, especially instructor.
Yeah.
All I got was for instructor was a little piece of paper, but that meant more to me than almost any award. And I'm still proud of the DEA awards and all that, but man, I just wanted to be a motorcycle instructor and officer. And definitely a Scout was a blast in its own way. So I'm definitely not downplaying that, but motorcycles was funner for me, but it came at the right time in my career too.
Yeah.
So it's give or take.
Right.
But I was very proud of riding that Electra Glide, being a motorcycle officer and instructor. So that was probably the highlight. But back to your question about retirement. Yeah. So it was just an age thing and I could finally do it. And honestly,
the timing was right too with Lab.
It was.
We've brought on several employees, which we talked about earlier. And as a small business owner, you really look at, can I afford to bring somebody else on? What happens if I can't support that and continue to pay them? What if, there's just a whole lot that goes on. And we are blessed that when we made that decision, it blew up.
Yep.
And
I was retired.
But in all fairness, leading up to your retirement, it was getting busy too. So it was just a really good time to do it. I will say something here that Gary Jackson brought up, and in public service and really truly in any job that you put your heart into, it's difficult to do it without the support of your family. So here's what Gary says. Through all the adventures, awards, personal best, and success, I can't help but think about Mrs. Urlacher and the little Urlachers that supported and sacrificed. Kudos to them.
Yeah, well said, Gary.
Yeah.
No, you can't say that any better. Yeah, it's that's tough on a family. There's no doubt about it. Being a police officer, the different shifts, nights, leaving every night, it's dangerous. They know that. You try to shelter them from it. Your wife learns to work on a different level, and we've talked about that. At some point they switch gears and go into protective mode because it is possible that you don't return, and they need to be prepared with the kids. And so there's a lot to unpack there, but I'll just leave it at that because Gary said it well. So yeah. Families behind police officers is a whole nother level.
I learned early on that if my wife's in the crowd, I can't look at her, because if I'm like a promotion or an award or something like that, I cannot look at her because I'll cry every time.
Yeah.
I get emotional right now just thinking about it.
Yeah, right.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
But mine used to say that when you came home and I heard the
you're right.
Velcro coming off, I can go to sleep.
Yeah, right, right.
So it is hard on them. So thank you for mentioning that, Gary.
Yeah, the vest coming off. Yeah, there's God, that's a loaded statement there, but I appreciate it very much. So it just became the right time. And honestly, I was ready to retire, even being a motorcycle officer. I loved it, but I knew that it had to go. If I could have just been a motorcycle instructor full time, that'd have been great. But I needed to run lab. And this is what I prepared 13 years ago, busting my ass, working 2 jobs. It was finally time to go. This is why I did what I did. I did not want to retire, and no skin off any other retirees.
No,
each to their own. No skin.
No skin off their teeth.
No skin off their teeth.
You're going to say no skin off their nose, but that's not the way you say it.
No skin off
it's
their
their skin off their teeth. We've looked this up. It's true.
But I told Lurchus, and he can tell you, I will not retire, and I will not be I carry a gun, but I will not be standing in a courthouse. I will not be standing as a security guard. I will not be doing anything authoritative. I enjoyed it. I appreciate my career. I'm proud of my career, but I want nothing to do with law enforcement. I'm done with it.
Agreed.
It takes a toll on your mental health. The atrocities that I saw in 30 years still haunt me in a lot of ways. And so that's just something that time heals over time. But I just don't want to work for the man. I don't want to work for the government. I don't want anything to do with the government. And I'm not anti-government. I'm just telling you, they're wasteful. You can't change it. I tried to change so many things. I saw so much waste over the years, and you bring it to people's attention. They don't give a shit. And you wonder why people after 20 years just clock in and clock out. It's a horrible environment, for that reason. And I just wanted to be done with it.
It takes away your ability to be creative.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like you, I joined so young. But I look back on who I was before I started. I feel like I was a lot more creative back then, played instruments and was all that kind of stuff. And then I just lost all that. And so it's nice to be able, why not retire when you can? If it's 53, or for me, it was 25 years, do it while you can so that you can move on and enjoy the second part of your life. Maybe bring some of that creativity back in and a little bit more peace and less chaos, and just enjoy, the second half or third of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said.
Yeah. So what Ryan and I are saying, if you're listening and you're in law enforcement, you're eligible to retire, we highly recommend it, because it is. I'll ask you before I say it. What did it feel like to retire? Like to be free of all that?
Fucking 3 tons off your shoulders.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a weight that you don't realize you carry. And it's very particular to law enforcement, military, probably fire, any of the services you deal with a lot of traumatic stuff. But, any job that doesn't allow you to be entrepreneurial and creative. It's nice to be able to get away from that and then be creative, be entrepreneurial, and, just be part of something that's not, so you don't realize it at the time, especially in law enforcement, but it's a weight, and you can feel that come off you, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
totally.
So if you're eligible, do it.
Yes, highly recommend. And here's what I'll say, and I tell a lot of young officers these days that still, or that I'm in touch with is, number one, I was lucky because really LAB got me through the last part of my career because I'm a very creative person. I love making documentary films. I love all the stuff that surrounds LAB. That's actually where my passion is. I've always been a creative person. I just became a cop, and then you get stuck in that grind, and that's fine. But my creative side and entrepreneurial side was always there. And I just got blessed that God gave me an opportunity here with LAB. And looking back, he was clearly guiding me this way, to be involved with the biker community this way. And so with that said, I was developing skills long before I retired. And unfortunately, a lot of law enforcement officers don't do that. And so when you retire, you probably are going back to work. The reason is the majority of law enforcement officers that don't go back to work, unfortunately, end up in really bad situations. High suicide rate, high alcoholism rate, because you're used to doing and having a purpose every day. I've seen so many officers retire. What you going to do? And they're like, well, I'm just going to, I swear to God, everyone I talk to, there are very few exceptions. I'm just going to chill for a while. And you see them 3 months later and they're like, what you doing? I got a job. You will go fucking nuts. Or
you need a purpose.
Yeah. You need a purpose to get up every day, help people, whatever that looks like for you. I know what it looks like for me. I am so blessed to be able to roll into this, and my hard work for all those years. And sometimes trust me, working 2 full-time jobs like that and every weekend, and it takes a toll. I'm not going to lie to you. And there's lots of times where I felt like, why am I doing all this? Well, here you are. I made it. And now I can just focus on this and be blessed. But if you're not developing another skill as a law enforcement officer, you are very, very limited on what you can do when you retire, because most people don't want to hire a cop because you only know how to really do one thing, and that's be a cop. And that translates to security. Okay. Doesn't mean you can't go mow lawns or something like that, whatever makes you happy. And what I'm asking you, and your career can end tomorrow. You can blow out a knee, jump in that fence, and you got nothing. So I would say the number one thing I told all my rookies, and that wasn't part of the program, but I had my own program. And the first thing I would do, like the first week, is tell my rookie, I'd say, if you get hurt tomorrow, what are you going to do? And a lot of them had an idea. They're a little bit better about that these days. And some had other skills. But I would tell them if they said, I don't know, I said, then start right now. Enjoy this career. Hit it hard. It's something you want to do, but have a default. Start editing videos. I'm just bringing up examples. Start in real estate. Start something that is not law enforcement, because there's not very many places and jobs that translate to a law enforcement background. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's if you're listening and you're a law enforcement officer and you haven't thought this through, do something you're passionate about, but develop other skills besides law enforcement. It's very limited what you're going to be able to do in this world with those type of skills. So
Anthony Peters says vets too.
Yes.
Which is very similar.
Yeah,
right?
True.
Law enforcement, military. He says, after 27 years, my dad learned he can't fish every day. Yeah.
It's true.
You need to have some purpose, whether it's, you don't necessarily
It's the way God made us.
But volunteer, do something, right? Do something that especially if you've been in a service career and that's been your purpose, find service somewhere else, whether it's volunteering or doing whatever.
Maybe you have enough money and you don't need to actually make money. Then go volunteer at the church,
right.
Go volunteer at the softball, whatever. Don't sit idle. Being idle is the devil's playground, right? And it is. And I've seen a lot of, unfortunately, officers go down all the way to suicide, to alcoholism, to military too. I know a lot. Yeah. you can't, you think you're going to sit around and work in your yard. It'll last a couple weeks and then you'll be bored and you're going to finish all your work. And you'll be bored as fucking shit. And, cause it's not really a purpose. Most people need some sort of purpose. And a lot of times it helps interacting with other people. Isolation isn't good. So anyways, it sounds good, right? I remember, speaking of, I know this is going long, but I remember when you're young in your career and I was probably 5 years in, and I was thinking, oh, we're putting away for retirement, and you dream of the day where you don't have to work anymore. And you have all these dreams like, I'm going to be on the beach with a margarita and that's all I'm going to do. And you're like, and then you start getting older. You're like, okay, that's not going to fucking work. And nobody has that much money. And this retirement isn't that much money. And that's not really a purpose. And that would be fun for a couple of weeks. And then you're going to wake up going, all I do is drink margaritas and I'm fat. And, but it's funny. You know what I mean? When you're young, you're like, you think, I remember visualizing in my car, like, oh, and then I'm going to have to do nothing.
Yes.
Well, doing nothing is really bad.
Yeah.
It's bad as a human being. It's not good for your brain. It's not good for your physical.
It's good for small amounts of time to just reset.
That's called vacation.
Yeah, exactly. You take a vacation a week or two a year and you're good. So I think nailed the career and a little bit about Lab, but anything you want to add about the future of Lab and where we're going? And we're continuing to ramp it up.
We are. Things are insane. And I will say,
with a goal of keeping it law-abiding biker, which is bikers helping bikers, bootstrap company, no matter what, yes, we're bringing on employees. Compared to the big guys, we're always going to be a bootstrap company.
Yep.
So you got any little insights you want to share?
Number one, looking at now, but I also know God has a plan. I'm a God-fearing man. I've told you guys that. And I know that he meant for me to stay at law enforcement as long as I did. But I realizing how fast being retired and how fast I've been able to scale the business, of course, with everybody's help. I'm not taking all credit for that, but I do have a vision, and Lurch knows. And, I should have retired 5 years ago. I feel like I could have scaled it, and I thought about it, but I stayed. And I'm not disappointed in that. And it must've been God's plan because it didn't feel right, completely right. So here we are. I get, it is what it is. But here's where Lab's at. And if you're a business owner and you guys get behind the scenes, I guess everybody that listens to this will, I'm not going to, and Lurch knows, here's the problem. I educate myself a lot. I do a lot of studying, a lot of research. And also as a business owner, here's the problem. If you're working in your business, I can't work on my business. And it's a trap every entrepreneur gets into, and every entrepreneur will go through it. It's how you get out of it. And so what I mean by that is you have to recognize it. So what happens is I have visions and I can do big, broad things to continue to move the company forward and help bikers. That's the main thing. Help as many bikers as we can worldwide, connect with bikers, build community. But when I'm tied up in operations, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. And so what happens to many businesses like mine is they get stuck. And it doesn't mean I want to be, some chain. That's not, where my mind is. But the problem is you get to a point and you get stuck and I can't work on the business anymore. And so money coming in, coming out, right? And so you hire employees, and the purpose of employees is to get me out of the business so I can look big picture on the business. And I'm always going to do the promotional part of things because I've got the YouTube channel, marketing, every book that I've read, you need to work on the stuff that you're good at and that moves the business forward. And I already know what that is. But if I can't do that and I don't have the time for that, then things get stale. So what we're in progress doing, and Lurch knows my vision, is I need to get out of that. I need to stop doing that. And with employees, and we're getting people trained up, and Lurch is training, and Javon's on board, and we've got other employees. And the more I can hand off to get back to what I'm supposed to be doing, then we can continue to make the business successful. I also look forward to a day where I don't have to work 12 hours, 7 days a week, because I work all weekend. We've got a thing called Slack, and I have to answer messages, and I have to, employees need help, and I don't get a day where I can just not answer that. At the end of the day, when you're a business owner, you have to come to accept that when it's not going to get done, then it will get done by you, because nobody else is going to do it. Everybody else is off, and what are you going to do? So, and I don't say that in a negative way.
It's reality.
It's a business owner. Yeah. But I need to be able to have some free time. And right now I don't, and that's okay. We are scaling at a rapid pace. I've done it for 13 years. It's nothing new to me. I ain't afraid of work. And it's why the business is successful, because I've also never taken a large paycheck from the business. Lurch can tell you,
minuscule.
I pump money back into the business. I've always pumped money. I had a job. Law enforcement was feeding my family, not this business. And so I was able to take any money that it made and pump it back in. Equipment, this, that, employees, boom, 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 boom. So anyways, my visions for it are to continue to move forward. We're building the store out to serve people that way. And to get to a point where I'll always work hard. It's just the way I am, and I'll always work extra hours and always fill in where I need to. But we're in the process of working so I can have a bigger picture and see where we go from here, basically. But we're not stopping. That's for sure. No. Right,
No, shit, no.
Did that make sense? Is that the kind of answer, kind of insight that you were looking for?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And he knows all this because we have meetings, and I'm like, we're trying to get me back to, I had to fill in like I was in the heat of operations as much as any other employee. And I still having troubles getting done what I need to get done, but we're moving there. It's a team effort.
It scaled so quickly. And like I said,
we didn't know. We're like, shit.
Yeah. With a small business, you struggle with bringing people on when's the right time and whatnot. And can we afford another employee? And just, God has a plan. And when we brought Javon on as our assistant store manager, and shit just went sideways, crazy, busy, which is good. But we're probably going to need, as soon as he's ready to move into full store manager, we're going to need another assistant store manager. We're working hard to get people in place to do the operational stuff so that you and I can do more of the chief.
What drives the business?
The COO stuff, the overall picture stuff. And we'll get there. It's a good problem to have.
It is.
I remember the day when we started this whole thing, and we're trying to figure out, we need a topic for a podcast. It would be nice if we can get a couple of emails. Yeah. We get a couple hundred emails a day, so
remember the first softwares we're going to buy? Dude, do we have enough money
can we afford?
Should we even buy that software?
Yeah. It's growing. But at the root of it, it's always going to be bikers helping bikers. It's going to be a bootstrap company as compared to, Komodo Holdings. Right. Some of the big boys, JP Cycles and Revzilla and all that, we're going to do our best to stay, bikers helping bikers, but
real actual bikers riding, helping bikers, testing products. Yeah.
And in order to help more folks, we are going to have to grow. And we're just kind of in the middle of that right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of big things happening. Like we said on the last one, working some deals and some more Indian content, and obviously working with Harley Davidson. And we've really been blessed to have our name so well known in the industry. And some of the compliments I get are humbling from these companies and these marketing groups. And a lot of people obviously want to be on our platform. And so we're flattered by that. But we are not the conglomerates. We are picky.
We don't let anybody get on this platform. No. There's a lot. We turn away more than we ever take on.
Right. Yeah. It has to be right. And that's how we compete in the current market against places like Revzilla and JP Cycle, because we offer an experience and actual customer service and actual bikers and actual testing products, not just sucking everything in and drop shipping. And, we do some of that. But when we get to the products, we have a list. We try to get to everything. We've at least handled everything, touched everything. They don't have any clue. They're all about a sales funnel, and they're about as much sales as they can. And they never even use a quarter of the shit that they sell. So we just want to be different. And that's how you compete. We've learned in this market is the economy went so far, and then we got Amazon and we got Revzilla, JP Cycle Gear, and these conglomerates and these massive operations. And it was cool for a while, and convenience is great, right? Prime, you get it on your doorstep the next day. If you have a warehouse near you, all these things. But I can tell you what the marketing research shows, and what I see is that people are kind of done with that. They want to get back to actual people, authenticity, people that like us that do what they do. And they don't just want to buy something on Amazon and not be able to get any support on it, because who knows who's selling it. We've seen it. We've seen it with our store and our business, that especially the biker community is getting back. Not that I'm not talking bad about any of those. I'm just saying it went so hard for so long and everything got so big and it was all about convenience, but there's no support. And you call somebody, they've never touched that jacket. They don't even know what fucking jacket that is. So I knew that's what we need to do. We need to be able to serve and actually answer questions and say, actually, that's interesting. I did that this weekend. I threw that UASA 32 HL battery in my bike, and man, my bike cranks over 10 times as fast because I'm using it. And so that's how we're trying to differentiate ourselves. And it's worked for many years. From those companies, yes, people are still going to shop there. They offer a lot more than us because we don't list every product that's available like they do. But we're adding more, and we can certainly get a lot of the stuff if they're custom orders or whatever. But anyways, that's the flow right now, right, Lurch? Is that kind of our flow?
Absolutely.
Like. Continue to make YouTube content, documentary films we're going to make. Very happy to say, heading 12 days, 18 states, and Hardy did throw out some money again to help sponsor my film over in the Northeast. Not quite as much as last year, but I'm still blessed. I try not to, I'm happy with what they were able to provide, and that'll help with that film. It'll probably be a 2-part series again. So anyways, things flowing, and I'm blessed here in my retirement, and it's a huge weight off my shoulders. And to sum it up, everything I worked for, working 2 jobs, is coming to fruition, but I am still working a lot, and it's fine. And it's something I'm passionate about. And and it's not law enforcement, right? Yeah. It's something I love. I get to play with motorcycle parts, and I work around great people. The employees we've hired are just phenomenal people. And me and Urlacher, we got to work on bikes the other day, which is always nice. We used to now we really have to be careful. Like, it used to be like, hey, we'll work on bikes for a couple of days. Now we're like, in between operations and store and deliveries and this and that, we're like, okay, we got to pick good days, and we're only going to do 4 hours on that project. And if we don't finish it, we'll pick it up next week. We're getting a little more strategic about how we do that, but we're still putting out the content just as more than we ever were. It just has to be much more strategically planned.
Yeah, has to be very thoughtful how we lay it out. We get through a weekend with a lot of emails. We have to catch up with everything. And so Mondays aren't a good day, Tuesday. So we found like Wednesday, Thursday is a good day. Yeah. Because Friday we want to be caught up going into the weekend. But we're getting there. We're getting there. And we appreciate everybody's support. We couldn't do this without the folks that shop in our store, the patrons that support us, people that listen to the podcast, that do everything. It's a very humbling experience. I think back to when we first started it. And again, we were just hoping to get an email, so maybe we could talk about it on the podcast and or something to talk about. And, we had just a few people listening. It's really grown. It's very humbling from a couple of dipshits from Yakima, Washington.
No doubt we don't take ourselves seriously still. We laugh sometimes. We're like, what the fuck do we get ourselves into? This is great.
Gary Jackson says, congratulations and thank you for helping us DIY with confidence. You should be very proud of your accomplishments, and I'm proud to be part of this.
Yeah, nice. Canine Rick retired, says Rick Rhett, retired. Oh, the podcast from your daughter's closet. Yeah, taking it back. That's where it started as a hobby. So anyways, anything else on your notes that you want to follow up? This one went long, but that's fine. It's a 2-part episode, and it's been a long time coming, and I know a lot of people wanted it, and so I appreciate that. Yeah, we could talk stories all day, but
congratulations on your law enforcement career.
Thank you.
It obviously, as we've talked through it, you've had the opportunity to do a lot of things. And you've been recognized for it, as you should. It's one of those careers that not everybody gets to have the opportunity to do, and it made a difference in people's lives. But now we get to move on and focus even harder on law-abiding biker and continue to do a job that is positive, that makes changes in people's lives. I mean, every time we send out, I was kidding with my nephew. So we hired Cody. I don't know if we mentioned this in the last couple episodes. I know we have some point. My nephew Cody.
Only about the dude wipes, but anyways, never mind. No.
Thank you for actually. That was one of my notes in my head.
Investigation continues.
Was dude wipes? Yes, the investigation continues. We thought Cody was the culprit. We thought he was not closing the dude wipes.
Back it up to if they haven't heard I'm sure they.
Hold on.
Yeah, the last episode.
It might. Okay, so to give you some
several
background,
episodes,
at least 2 episodes ago, we had a what we're calling dude wipe Kate. Somebody left the dude wipes open, not just once, it was several times
at the store.
And then it's because Ryan goes, "Hey man, the dude wipes were open the other day. I had to close them." We go, "No," and I said,
"They're drying out."
I said, "No shit, I had to close them too. That's so weird. What's changed? What's going on new here at the store?" "Oh, our new shipping guy, Cody. Maybe he's leaving them open." And so we confronted him. We confronted him the other day, unless he's good bullshitter, which I don't think he is.
He's obstructing justice.
I don't know.
I've got a whole nother investigation
I've known that
going.
Kid his whole life. As soon as you ask him a question, he can't lie very well. Yeah. So I'm not sure if it was Justin, one of Justin's kids, or Javon brought up a good point. Is sometimes if that wipe is hanging out of the box a little bit, it may not quite close up.
We worked there how many years without anybody else?
Agreed. Okay.
Never.
Somebody's.
I just was, and
I'll grill Cody again.
After I thought about it, when Javon said that, I agreed with him. And then I'm like, I went home and I'm like, hang on. Me and Lurch, us two worked at that store by ourselves for fucking several years. And not once did I find
but
the
I
dude
consciously pushed the dude wipe back into the bag and closed the lid to make sure it has a good seal.
Right.
So maybe others aren't doing that. It may not be intentional, but it's still happening.
That's the kind side of you.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's malicious.
I don't know if it's malicious.
Yeah. So this is the kind of shit we do these days, but we have fun. We got to keep it fun, but we have a full investigation. And Cody is still under investigation for obstruction. I haven't cleared him of obstruction yet.
He's not free. Not free. What did you sidetrack me from, by the way? I
don't know,
okay,
dude.
Matter now. Anywho,
no, we're proud of our career and something like that.
Yeah. But it's time to move on, and we're going to continue to serve a community. It's just going to be the biker community.
Yep. And we appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah.
Staying with us. We could have kept talking a lot. I probably could have did 5 episodes. In fact, Gary mentioned it, or somebody did. I think it was Gary. You might need to do an episode 3. Yeah. 2. There you go. Maybe now we will, maybe we can do future episodes where we talk a little bit more just about a few of our scat big interdiction busts, because we have a lot of pictures, kind of mix it up here and there.
For sure.
Because we could go down that road and all that kind of stuff, but we want to do an overview, of my career, basically on this one. And certainly we could continue to get sidetracked and go down those specific stories and roads and things like that. But we appreciate you guys hanging on with us. Hopefully it was interesting. We want to appreciate our patron members. We want you to be a patron member. We want to get to know you. We want you in the private Facebook group. But hey, the only way you can support us is through a flat donation. We never balk at a flat donation. Please thank the following 3 people.
We'd like to thank James Hoke and Kevin Height and Jim Mercer of Simpsonville, South Carolina.
Very nice. Law-abiding biker. lawabidingbiker.com/donate. I'm answering a message. I just want to say Lab Writing Buddy says, Ryan, you have made this a better world.
Yep.
lawabidingbiker.com/donate. That's /donate. And you can also just go to lawabidingbiker.com. On the front home page there is a donate button, very large. Helps put a little fuel in the law-abiding biker gas tank.
So we can keep this thing running on down the road.
There you go. Love you guys. Love all the patron members that have been involved in the chat. And we kept it live. So now we don't have to upload. This is already in the back end of your patrons account. So
it's only been 3.5 hours.
It is only like 3.5 hours. Yeah.
Maybe we cut the first one a little short, but it was good timing to cut between the two agencies. Yeah.
Right. And we did one on lurches too, which was quite a few years ago. If you go back in the archive.
5.
Yeah, 5 years. Fuck, time flies, doesn't
it?
Right? It's crazy. Crazy shit.
I have to say, though, that no prostitutes ever touched my wiener.
Oh, God. The old prostitute stings. Yeah. Funny stuff. And the most valuable employee is Lou, who's right at
he's getting
Lurch's feet right there. Yeah, it's dinner time, dude.
He's over here loving on me and trying to get my attention.
He's like,
Lou's looking very attractive.
He is.
He had a hairdo yesterday.
Come here, Lou. He's beautified.
Yeah.
His beard is gorgeous.
He usually looks a little rough around the edges, but he's all dressed up. He's ready for a night out on the town.
Come show everybody your beard. Come here. It's a beautiful beard. Come here.
He won't now.
I think we're out of time, Lou.